in kind, and we'll be able to take care of them, or they'll be taken care of them in their homes. Honorable Speaker, apart from that, when you talk of support, the elderly people may not only need cash, may not only need kind transfers and all that, they also need psychological support. That is when we'll have people around them. We still need them at least to be able to use the wisdom they have. This is now where this bill also comes in very, very important. Honorable Speaker, looking at the work of the county, and we have in this bill that in the administration and provision of social protection, the county government will have to implement national government policies on social protection through county-specific legislation and strategies. And they'll also be able to allocate resources for social protection intervention at the county levels. Not to forget that the registry, they'll have to develop a registry for social protection. This is now one will be able to know how many in every county, how many of these categories do we have, and how many will be assisted or will actually benefit from this. And without this bill, Honorable Speaker, the county government may not be able to allocate the resources that is required. But as we have this bill, the county government, in collaboration with the national government, will be able to reach even with those ones in the deepest parts of our counties, Honorable Speaker. And especially this time, Honorable Speaker, some of our elderly people and even the vulnerable may not be able to have food. Even with the subsidized fertilizers, some of them may not be able to plant. But with the cash transfer and with this one in kind, at least the county government will be able to identify them, provide the necessary resources for them. Some of them have very small piece of land, but food security being very, very important, Honorable Speaker, the county governments can provide as it is required. So to me, Honorable Speaker, I support this particular bill, and I know it will lift a burden as we try as much as we can to help the most vulnerable members of the society. And once more, Honorable Speaker, I support the bill. Thank you very much.
Well said. The member for Marsabit.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to this very important bill that concerns the life of the vulnerable in our society. Honorable Speaker, when we speak about vulnerable people in our country, we have the senior citizens. The senior citizens maybe who have been working in the past, but today they live in a very poor situation in different parts of this country. They don't have anything that protects them against any danger. They don't have medical care. They don't have social protection. And even they don't have any of their relatives to support them. We also have people living with disability. In most of the parts in this country, people living with disability have been disadvantaged in many ways. And most of the time, African society look at them and they feel that, you know, any person living with disability is like a curse to that family or the relatives. And they hide them, they keep them, they are not exposed, they are not given opportunity to go for education, they are not given the opportunity for any protection against any danger, they are not even given medical care. And they end up suffering. Honorable Speaker, in addition to that, we have orphans. Children who have been orphaned and they have no parent to take care of them. And most of the time, even their relatives take advantage and they end up mistreating them. And this bill will come in and give them hope. And that is why, as I stand, I support this bill, because we'll be able to take care of the minority, the vulnerable, the people living with disability, the elderly, the orphans. And again, I want to talk about drug addiction. drug addiction in our country is getting out of hand. Our young people, out of frustration, many of them have gone into drug addiction, and many of them are in need of going to rehabilitation centers. Honorable Speaker, as a country, we need to plan for them. We need to take care of them. We need to see how they can be rehabilitated and come back to the society. The parents of those who are drug addicted are suffering because they have no way to help them. And if this bill can also put into place how they can be assisted, that can really help. Honorable Speaker, another category of the vulnerable in our society is the people living with HIV/AIDS. We know very well that HIV/AIDS is something that affects our society and something that has been here with us for many years now, and many families are affected. And these are the vulnerables in our society that need serious attention. And this social protection bill will help all the people that are in need of the government support in every part of the country. And then we will be able, even for us as members of parliament, then we'll be able to know our needy people and support them through this bill. Honorable Speaker, we need to have serious data of all the categories that I have mentioned. And unless we have the data, we will not be able to take care of all the vulnerable people in our society. Simply because, like where I come from, we have people living in different parts of that country, Marsabit, and the distance between the headquarters and where the people are living is quite long, and we may not be able to know. So it is good for the government to take serious, to give serious attention in collecting the data of the vulnerable in every part of this country. And as we do that also, Honorable Speaker, one thing that can guide us is the poverty level in our country. The poverty level in our country is quite high. For example, Kenya as a country, over 39% live below the poverty level. Honorable Speaker, 40%, 39.6% is quite high. And to make the matters worse, the vulnerable in our societies are nowhere, and we have not given them much attention in the past. The 2,000 that the elderly people are given will not be able even to buy them medication. Like when you consider the poverty level, the county that I come from, Marsabit, it's at 66.something%, meaning that many people are living in that very poor situation. And when this social protection bill will come into place, then we'll be able to trace all of them where they are and give them the necessary support. Honorable Speaker, there is another challenge that I want to bring out as we register our people, and especially for those people who come from the border counties, like my county. Our people don't have the IDs. I thank the President who has now said that the IDs should be given without any serious vetting. Honorable Speaker, we have elderly people of over 70 years old who do not have IDs, and yet their children are graduates, their children have gone to universities, their children are working in Kenya, and yet they have been denied. So as we push for this bill, I want to also request the government to make sure that the elderly in our country, the elderly people in our country, and especially counties like Marsabit County, which is at the border, should be given special priority for people to be registered and given ID cards so that they can also qualify for this bill and for this social protection care, so that they can be given and they can be included in the list. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, we need to create enough of awareness. We have so many policies that are there in place, but Kenyans don't understand. So the best thing that we can do as a government is to create awareness of the bills or their human rights so that people at the village level, then they'll be able to know what belongs to them and be able to demand for their rights. Honorable Speaker, with those few remarks, I support the bill and I encourage the members of parliament to contribute positively so that this bill can be enacted and support our vulnerable people, the widows, the orphans, the people living with disability, the people living with HIV/AIDS, and all the others that need our attention. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I support.
Member for Seme. There are hands up this side. We're given 3 this side in a row.
Thank you.
This side also have a chance. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving this opportunity. I rise to support this bill. Mr. Speaker, social protection is one act that actually distinguishes the human society from the animal societies. It is only human beings in their right senses that actually make programs that protect vulnerable people. Animals don't do that. So this is an extremely important bill for us. And our Constitution, the 2010 Constitution, actually takes care of that. And this is in line with the Constitution. If you look at Chapter 4, the Bill of Rights, particularly Article 43 of our Constitution, it will tell you that the areas that we actually need to protect people, the area of health, the area of housing, the area of access to water and sanitation, and social security. So this is actually in line with the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, we have to look at the issue of poverty in our country, defined by expenditure of about $2.15 per day. We have a poverty level ranging from 26 to 46% in various parts of the country. And it is more so in urban areas than even in rural areas, where in urban areas, a monthly income of 88,000 per month will really define you as living in under poverty, and while the rural areas 4,300. So, Mr. Speaker, this bill will protect those people in that category. And it's not only protection, it actually improves survival of people. There are families that just with the minimal social protection, the children will actually survive. The children can go to school. And in that way, not only survive, but you actually improve human capital. Their children, if they're supported from such families, will actually get proper education and have social mobility. Mr. Speaker, social protection is also an investment, not just an investment in a social sense, but actually socio-economic investment. Where there are cash transfers, it has actually been proven that for every dollar that is given as a cash transfer, you actually get a return in the economy of $8. So it's not just that the money that is being given in cash transfer is just spent. It's actually an investment. It's also a political investment. Some of us may have heard about President Lula, who actually, people forced him to go back even after coming from jail, being jailed by his opponents, because of the social protection programs he started that actually moved a large number of Brazilians from poverty into middle income level. So this is something that we really must support. I know there was the bill of the late Honorable Laboso, which I actually participated in, but I think it was not actually implemented. Having this bill, I think, is the right thing, and I hope this time we are serious about it. And social protection is in all areas. If you look at the area of just survival, the area of food, the area of housing, the area of shelter, the area of education, the area of healthcare, all these are actually social protection. So, Mr. Speaker, in our country, we actually have a lot of ongoing social protection programs. But I think this bill will actually help to organize and coordinate them. Mr. Speaker, a working social protection will be a big relief to politicians, members of parliament. You know how we actually contribute to all social ventures in families, and if you have proper social protection, some of that will actually be taken care of. In this country, there are a lot of ongoing social protection programs, but most of us just think of cash transfer programs, which we have for orphans and vulnerable children, which we have for elderly persons, which we have for persons with disability. But even feeding programs in schools are a social protection. Even agricultural subsidies are actually social protection. Social health insurance, like what we have in SHA, replacing it, that is also a social protection and a social security. So, Mr. Speaker, we have this, and they are going on, but they have challenges because there is no legal framework that takes care of this. And the challenges, if you take, for example, the cash transfers, the issue of disbursement is a big issue, and we've never gone through a session without a member raising the cash transfer for elderly persons. Some people are not getting the means of getting the cash transfers. We tried direct payment. We tried getting now into mobile phones, and we still have a problem that with the disbursement. We also have lack of coordination because, as I've said, all these social protections, if there is no proper coordination, there'll be a lot of double dipping. So you'll find that a family may be getting under a disability area, then the same family will be probably getting it in bursary, the same families will be having orphans and vulnerable children. So there is need for some coordination. And that's a big challenge in the social protection programs that we have. There is the issue of just pure theft and grafts, because if it's not properly organized, now in cash transfers, there are people who are helping the persons that are the recipients. And these people themselves actually do steal from these people. Even the officers that are actually running this program, even the banks, some monies even get lost in the banks. So again, there is need to do that. There is also the problem, we don't have an exit programs, because in some cases of social protection, people can actually, like orphans and vulnerable children, there's an age which they reach when they should exit. Even families, you do not only give social protection if it is cash transfer, there are social protection that should actually be income generating, on which people are placed once they start getting cash transfers. So people actually, I was involved in these programs, we reach situations where when mothers and women groups were actually given social protection, they reach a point when they say, actually, I've now started my own business, I now actually don't need this, and you can give it to, we don't have that now, so that it seems to be forever and ever and ever, and we don't exit people from these programs. So we need to look at that. Also, we don't have the systems of responding to socioeconomic changes. As a member said earlier, we started with 2,000. Actually, we started with 1,500, and it is this house that actually, with the motion, moved it to 2,000. Maybe we need to do better. But we don't respond to the socioeconomic changes. We don't respond to inflation. So again, we need a system that will take care of that. Therefore, I support this bill. It actually addresses the very important issues that I've been talking about. If you look at clause 5, it actually addresses Article 43, the issue of equity, inclusivity, justice, problem of discrimination, right-based approach, access, and so on. So that this bill actually is very appropriate. And if you go to clause 7 of the bill, it establishes a board. And if you look at the functions of the board in clause 8, Mr. Speaker, you will find that it will design, implement, monitor, and evaluate social protection interventions and programs. It's also going to create a registry. It's also going to coordinate this. So this bill actually is a bill that we must appeal to our colleagues to actually support this bill. And when it comes to the committee of the whole house, we'll make amendments, but it's a bill that we need to anchor our social protection programs on. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Member for Laikipia East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I rise to support this bill. It is timely. And we all note that we have been having social protection programs across. And for the first time, with this bill, there will be order. You will note that this bill, if you look at Section 7, where we are establishing a board, it means that for the first time, there will be order, there will be predictability, consistency, and the dignity of those members of society who are beneficiaries will now be taken care of. When you look at those people who are supposed to benefit, and especially the elderly, these are people who have served this nation. These are people who have laid the foundation of the nation, served us very well, and now they are in that age whereby we need to take care of them. But what is happening these days is that if you look at the societies, the burden that they are still shouldering, the responsibilities, because anything that happens in the society, they are the ones you look upon beyond so that we can have solutions. You get when our young people get neglected or they neglect themselves, end up in a drug addiction, they fall back to the same parents that are supposed to support them. You get a society whereby the elderly are now the ones supporting the young generation who are supposed to be benefiting from the young people. You look at issues when accidents happen, and we have issues of disability in the society. Again, you get family members running away from those responsibilities, and they end up with the elderly people. So the issue here, once you look at the issues of disability, the orphaned, and the elderly, they end up lumping up into one thing that the elderly people carries this burden. When you look at members of parliament who have the opportunity to interact with the society on a daily basis, these people called members of parliament and other representatives, they shall be the first beneficiaries of this bill when it gets through. And we make sure that if it are the issues that are supposed to be in order, issues of timely payment, issues of identification, issues of making sure that the vulnerable people in the society get the opportunity to benefit, making sure that they are not discriminated, making sure that there is order. If there is a way they are going to be picked, we ensure that there is proper collaboration, that you don't leave this one to the area chiefs alone. Proper teams are set up on the ground to make sure that there is the automatic qualification of the needy in the society. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the mode of payment, cash transfer, again, these are some of the issues that this board must be concerned to ensure that where you come from, you don't suffer because of coming from an area where modes of payment are not friendly to that kind of a society. You must look at this country, those people coming from northern Kenya, those people who are coming from areas where there is no banking facilities that are not well established, those people who cannot be able to access internet, and we make sure that that consistency, the way we are doing things, we don't latch into saying that this is the most applicable system, but you look at an area individually so that these people can be able to benefit. The token they are given, some people might look at it, it's a very rich money. But if you look at it in terms of frustrations that are there in the society, today, you wake up in the morning, get people lined up in your compound as a member of parliament, and you give them 200 shillings, they are very happy, very satisfied that you have given them a livelihood for the day. But if you look at this money, and I'm happy that members of parliament have identified this income as an economic stimulant, because at the end of the day, it stimulates the economy of a particular area. A person earning even 2,000 per month, it's enough to cushion these families